Alright there, YouTube. We're back with our Project 1983 Peterbilt 359. Now if you watched my last video, you know that we got a pretty big storm here. The official, whatever you want to call it, said we got 16 inches of snow. We are melting pretty quick now. It's 34 degrees out and the ground's still really warm. It was just 70 degrees just a few days ago. So the snow is melting pretty quick. We got all the snow cleaned up that we need to get cleaned up, and hopefully the rest of this stuff's gonna melt. Still got grass to mow. Leaves haven't fallen off the trees yet, so hopefully this snow goes away here pretty quick, but we're still waiting on parts for the Peterbilt. The storm kind of slowed down shipping and stuff, so I don't have any new parts on hand. But we still got tons of things that we can do on this truck, so we're gonna go ahead and get it fired up, pull it inside, and see what we can get done on it here today. So I had to jump start this thing to get it going here, and really this thing hasn't been on the road since I brought it home, so it hasn't had that much run time on it. So I think putting a battery charger on here, giving this a good slow charge here for a little while would be a pretty good idea. So we're gonna do that. Let's see, you got negative, positive. It's 2 amp slow charge. Yeah, we're just leave it on there while we're working on the truck today, and hopefully get these batteries charged all the way back up. Can't really tell how old these batteries are, but kind of like to, as long as these batteries keep working, I'd like to wait till I'm ready to put this truck back on the road to put new batteries in it, just so that they're not aging while we're not necessarily using the truck. So we'll just put these on a slow charge throughout the day today, and hopefully I'll keep this thing starting up. Anyway, while it's warming up in the shop here and the snow is melting off the truck, I thought it might be a wise idea to run out to my storage unit real quick and get my boat winterized before we get a real hard freeze. That gear oil is thick. So one thing I want to try to do today, you know, we've got our old fenders here. I thought this would be perfect for this test. I'd really like to take a look at some chemical strippers and see how well that might work. This truck's got several layers of paint on it. According to the paint code, Centauri 99A, I believe, that's in the glove box, this truck was originally black. So we can see that there's some black paint there. It was kind of a teal green, turquoise kind of color before, and then this red color here. Now we're going to be repainting this truck red. I like the red. I think that's what we're going to go with. But you know, with that many layers of paint on here and all the rivets and stuff, you know, it's going to be one heck of a job to sand all those layers of paint off this truck. So got a few chemical strippers. We're going to put some of those on this fender here, kind of see how that works, see if that's going to maybe be a viable option for stripping all the paint off of this truck. Two-minute remover advanced. You're going to go on the left side. Jasco Premium Paint and Epoxy Remover will go on the right. Alright, now while that's doing its thing, let's go ahead and test the coolant that's in here and make sure that we got good freeze protection on it. We are going to be replacing the coolant on this soon, but I want to go buy some bulk hose first and replace all of the coolant hoses at the same time while the coolant system's drained. You know, these trucks hold about 15 gallons of coolant. 15 gallons of coolant's not very cheap, so I want to only drain the coolant out of it once. So I think it would be smart to wait until I have all the hose on hand to go ahead and replace all of the coolant hoses on the truck before we drain the coolant and replace it. But I do want to make sure that we've got good freeze protection so that nothing gets damaged in the meantime. And let's get to it. Just going to suck some of this up in here. You want to make sure that you shake all the air bubbles off of the balls there. So, 4 balls floating. We're good to negative 25 degrees. Let's see if I can get that to focus. There you go. 4 balls. Negative 25 degrees. That'll be good enough for right now. I want to try to take a look at getting this passenger side air wiper out of here. See if we can figure out what needs to happen there. And there she is. Looks like maybe we got a couple bolts that come in from the other side here. Maybe. Yeah, it looks like one on each side that come in from the outside. I'm guessing these must be the 2 bolts that we see from the inside there, so let's go ahead and take this wiper arm off and those 2 bolts. Okay, so we've got another nut under this little rubber piece here, and our little whatever the heck you want to call it here, the splines for the wiper are seized onto the shaft. We got to try to get that off. Been messing with it for a few minutes here already. But let's go ahead and come back to our paint stripper here and take a look at that. See, a lot of the paint starting to bubble right up on, let's see, which one was this? On our Premium Paint and Epoxy Remover. Paint's bubbling quite a bit on that one there now. The Advanced 2-minute remover is almost drying up. It was also the thinnest out of all 3 of these products. So let's go ahead and try to scrape on this a little bit here and see what happens. Seems the first layer of paint's coming up fairly easily, but it's still kind of tough. Once you get down to that green, it doesn't really, the paint stripper hasn't gotten down to that yet. So let's try this one here next. Yeah, that does not scrape easy at all, but it is. It is coming up though. Taking quite a bit more effort to scrape. Now our premium paint and epoxy remover. Seems like that one's coming up the best out of all of them. There's not really a whole lot of difference between them though. But I think the 2 minutes definitely so far been the worst, but I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and scrape off what I can scrape off and then reapply them and then give them another 10 minutes or so and try it here again. So I went ahead and just reapplied just a 2. I think we're going to nix this one here. And been back on the wipers here. Alright, so I went through and I cleaned up the inside of this thing. Nothing really looked all that bad, but cleaned it up, put a little fresh grease on everything, and put it back together, and it's still not working. Been messing with this thing for a good 45 minutes to an hour here at least. That entire time I've had this paint stripper soaking. Man, look at that. I think that's really the key. The longer you let this stuff soak, the more it's going to do. And you see, I mean, the problem with this stuff that was over here, the 2-minute remover here, is that stuff just dries up. This stuff stays wet. You know, both these other two, the clean strip premium stripper and the premium paint and epoxy remover, seem pretty similar. They both seem to work about the same. I'm going to throw a set of gloves on, scrape these off, and see what we got. Alright, now after just a few minutes with some scraping, then scrub this down with the coarse Scotch-Brite and some water, and yeah, I think that's going to be the ticket. I think these two products are about equal. That one's a distant third. If you guys have any other recommendations on paint strippers to try before I actually start taking the paint off the rest of this truck, be sure to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what's worked great for you and what hasn't, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Anyway, I'm kind of running out of time for today's video. I think we're going to have to call it a day here. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. Thank you. Have a great day.